I am Chris Biffle, broadcasting to you live on May 1st, 2012. And if you're tuning in May 1st, 2012, please type in your name, let us know who you are, where you're from. We're ready to go. Here we go. Teaching Challenging Kids 102, Lesson 4, The Independence. And let's jump right into it, my friends. I'll do something we very rarely do just to give you an extra thrill. I'm going to the 3D mix right away. Yes, and the screen is over there. I always forget which way to point. Here's our buddy Biffy Bluebird. What if someone wants a copy of these slides? Oh, I shouldn't let you see me doing the voice now, should I, my friends? Oh, you discovered a secret there. What if someone wants a copy of these slides or professional development credit? And there is his friend, Bobby Bluebird, who says, easy breezy. Details are at the end of the program. This is program 502 of the greatest series you're going to see on Challenging Kids, because I think it might be the only series focused on challenging kids. Las Vegas is here. Barons River, Canada is here. We've got everybody here, my friends. Now, here's what we're doing. Right now, we're in the middle of a sequence of programs describing a year-long classroom management system. We're now at level 4. Let's just make this point right away. It's a long year. Yes, it is, my friends. You need something that keeps changing like a living video game. What's unique about our year-long system is that when you start with level 1, which is a scoreboard, that's for all your kids, and then you add another level, Super Improver's Wall, and then another level, practice cards, another level, and you keep focusing in on smaller and smaller populations of more and more challenging kids. So where are we focused tonight? We're focused on one of the teaching nightmares. Let's be honest. It's just me and you, cards on the table. 3 or 4 kids banded together, reinforcing each other's negative behavior, laughing at each other's jokes, backing each other up when one of them speaks inappropriately to their dear teacher, shrugging off your instructions. That is a rebel clique. I'm stopping right now, my friends, and let me know out there, here on this May Day in 2012, do you have some rebel cliques? Budsley, you can't have a rebel clique in kindergarten now, can you? Brainiac teacher, do you have some rebel cliques back there on the East Coast? I can hardly believe it. I thought it was just unique to California middle schools. But you know, my friends, it's not. Let's charge forward. Here we are. Look at it. Level 4, the independence. Now, we've made a change in our system where level 2 is now the Super Improver's Wall, and level 3 is practice cards. If you haven't seen the Super Improver's Wall, it is screamingly wonderful. And that's wonderful. Here's our good friend, Ms. Linton. Ms. Linton, welcome to the program. Thanks, Coach. Ms. Linton, what do you have to say here? You're in a situation, I see. What should I do if I've used the scoreboard, practice cards, the guff counter, and I still have a rebel clique? Here's the strategy, my friends. We start by solving the easiest problems first. That's the scoreboard. Then, we're going to reward all year for individual improvement. Then, we're tagging individual behavior with the practice cards. Then, We don't like guff. We don't like sass. We don't like backtalk. Au contraire, mon frere, we don't like it. That's when we use the guff counter. So you're in months into your system, and you've got some kids, you've got the class winnowed down to 3 or 4 or 5, however many kids, who are united together against you. A little group. What are we going to do? Here's one of our scaredy cat teachers. Let's see what she says. Rebel cliques make me feel like words I can't say. Yeah, can you relate to that? Does a rebel clique of challenging kids make you feel like words you can't say? Yes, McGee, you get the glares from them. These little toughies. Who do they think they are? Oh, they've never... Here's the advantage. Here's the advantage we have. We know what they're going to do. They're going to rebel. They don't know what we're going to do. They've never been in a classroom like ours before. We've got a fun way of dealing with this unified, self-reinforcing behavior. Let's get on with it. I know you're just wondering, well, come on, Coach B. Lay it down. What is a rebel clique exactly? A rebel clique is a group of students who reinforce each other's rebellious behavior. In WBT terminology, we identify them as the independents. Now, we don't like to be politically correct. You know, we could have called them the toughies, you know, or anything else. But let's just call them the independents. That's a nice neutral term. It just means these are the kids who are independent of the rest of the group. Tell me how you like that phrase, independence, as a starter, just as a way of framing up this particular kind of unified behavior. Here's our next screen. As the ancient Romans say, groovius maximus. See, I'm laying Latin on you all the time, even if I have to make it up. We make a special place for the independents on our scoreboard. Now we say, my friends, usually it's a good thing to be independent, but it's not a good thing to be independent of the whole class, when what we're doing is we're moving forward and helping you learn to read, learn to write, learn to think critically. We don't want you to be independent of that. So we put them on the scoreboard. Here is a picture of the scoreboard. Now, please note this. Please note this. This works if you've been using our other tools. You can't go in tomorrow and solve the problem of independence unless you've at least been using the scoreboard. It takes a while. Use the system. It's a long year. This is why you want to get going with the scoreboard. So that's where you put it. You say, this is level 4, the independents, and now they have their own part on the scoreboard. Next screen. Here's how to explain independence to your class. Here's what you say. Explain that independents are students who have been independent from the rest of the class. They'll have their own section of the scoreboard. You'll tell the independents who they are at recess. You do not go in and say, you, and you. I'm mad at you. You kids have been causing a lot of trouble. You don't scold in whole brain teaching. You know what time it is now. Tell me what time it is right now. I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see if you know what time it is right now. It's time for the glasses to come off. Yeah, we don't scold in whole brain teaching. We don't make use of our position of authority to humiliate our kids. And plus that, not only is it wrong, it doesn't work. Scolding makes the situation worse. So if you point out those kids and say, you're the bad kids, I'm giving you a position on the scoreboard, you just, as we say in the country, please excuse my countrified expressions, that's spitting in your soup. You've made a bad situation worse by your behavior. Listen, I'm putting on the glasses to take off the glasses again. Listen to me, my friends. This is going to come as a shocker. Is everyone sitting down? I don't want you keeling over when I say this. We breed challenging behavior by our behavior in the classroom. Think about that. Exactly what we don't want to happen, we make happen by our behavior. What do? We scold. Yeah, that makes things worse. We talk a long, long time. Yeah, that makes things worse. We lose control of our tone of voice. Yes, that makes things worse. We emphasize the grade system as opposed to a super improvement system. That makes things worse. So just think about that tonight. What are you doing that's breeding disruptive behavior? Glasses are going back on, but I'm so excited, I almost don't even want to do it, but I got to in order to see. Everybody online with that. You know, Brainiac, you're right. Be the change you desire to see in the world. Wise words from Gandhi. Let us look at the next screen. Now you're going to bring the students together. You point out that it may be easier for them because they're friends and influence each other. But here's the kicker. If one person breaks a rule, they all get a white card. Let's just stop there. That's what we've been doing. You know, we've been using the smileys and frownies. The frownies have been going for everybody in the whole class. Now you kids have your own scoreboard. The frownies are going to go just for your little group. You should be able to get it together. You're a smaller group. You don't have to control the whole class, just yourselves. But we're months into the school year now. If one of you is getting a frowny, you're all getting a white card. Now, folks, if you're not familiar with the white cards, go back and look at the practice cards program. I'll show you where that is. And here's the huge point. You tell your independents that they only have to stay in the independent group one day. If they stay longer, it's their choice. So, I put you in the group. You've only got to stay there one day. But if one of you misbehaves, you're all responsible because you're friends. You talk to each other. You have influence on each other. Influence each other the right way. And I guarantee you, my friends, if these are true challenging kids, it's not going to be long before one of them breaks a rule. And here's the deal. You will make certain that the independents don't win. The rule breaker gets a white card and the white card note home. The other independents get the white card. And here's the cruncher. Here's the cruncher. Glasses off. Nothing irritates a normal child more than getting a penalty for something they didn't do. But you take the highly verbal, highly aggressive, independent kids and you give all of them a penalty for what one of them did. They're not aggravated at you anymore. They're aggravated at Janie. It was her misbehavior. And this is where you've got to focus carefully. The independent group is not as unified as they look. It's not a relationship of equals. It's not a peaceful community of sharing. It's a community in which you got one kid on top dog, and other kids below, and the top dog rules by fear, intimidation, and reprisal. It's a little society that is like a tiny police state. You know what I'm saying? They're capping on each other all the time, ready to explode. You're throwing in the spark. Let them be aggravated at each other because they don't get along as well as you think they get along. Let's go back to the screen. Nothing aggravates rebel kids more than getting a penalty for something they didn't do. So they get angry at each other, and that destroys clique unity, which is what you want. There's bad unity and there's good unity, and the unity of the independents is negative unity. It's bad for them. Now, parents of problem kids almost always believe the problem is with their friends. Let's just cut that for a second. What do you say to parents? Now, tune in. This is huge. What do you say to parents? Because you're going to get parents back on this. You're going to get a kid who thinks they can go home and manipulate their parents because they think they've got you. The kid is going to say, Mom, you know what happened today? I got a white card and I didn't do anything. It was Janie. I didn't do one single thing and I got punished for it. Yeah. You're going to get a parent down. Let's see. You think we've got an answer for that parent? Oh, we got a beautiful answer. Say something like this, and I'm going to juice it up for you. I believe your child is in the wrong kind of group. She needs to see that a negative choice by one can have a negative effect on all. She can leave the group whenever she wants. All she has to do is tell me. Let's solve the problem of your child being in the wrong group before she gets to high school. Because here's the point. Parents of problem kids almost always believe the problem is with their friends. Here's the talk I would give. I wish I'd had an opportunity giving this talk. I'd say, first of all, listen to me. My friends, here's how you talk to an upset parent. You use what we call the praise sandwich. First, you're going to say, Mrs. Johnson, this is your slice of bread. Mrs. Johnson, thank you for coming in, taking time out of your busy schedule. I wish I had more parents who are as involved with their kids as you. You start with a piece of bread, a piece of praise, and then you say, now, Mrs. Johnson, the kids that your child is hanging around with, on their own, they're good kids. Maybe you exaggerate a little. On their own, they're good kids. But something happens when they get together. They reinforce each other's negative behavior. Every parent in America is going to buy into this because it's not their kid. It's the friends that they're hanging around with. And then you say, and Mrs. Johnson, please understand that your child is in that group by choice. I mean, they chosen to be in that group, and now they're in the independent group by their choice. They only have to stay in there one day. So if your child here in the 4th grade is coming home crying because she has received a penalty because another child didn't raise their hand for permission to speak, Mrs. Johnson, let's solve this problem now before we get to middle school or high school, where being in the wrong group, being in a group where other people are making the wrong choices can have disastrous effects and can lead Mrs. Johnson to alcohol, drug use, or unplanned pregnancy. Yes, I'd throw that in. You see what I'm saying? Every parent of an elementary kid, of a middle school kid, dreads what could happen further down the line. So now you've got parent buy-in. You say, let her cry. Just tell her, you know what, Janie? I'm afraid if you're in that group, the same thing's going to happen over and over again because you know Melanie, I mean, why don't you tell your teacher I don't want to be in that group anymore? Now, here's a little summary. The independents get their own section of the scoreboard. Oh, I'm sorry. Tell me it's cool. I made a big mistake. Come on, tell me it's cool. I said to you, we're going to give them a praise sandwich. First, thank you, Mrs. Johnson, for taking time out of your busy schedule. Then a big slab of meat. We want to solve this problem before middle school or high school, Mrs. Johnson, because right now it's just a little teeny problem. It could be a nightmare problem. That's a piece of meat. Then you come back with another piece of praise, and you say, and Mrs. Johnson, I love working with parents like you, and that's the truth, you do. You want to work with parents who are really concerned about their kids. Mrs. Johnson, thank you so much for coming down. Let's stay in touch. Let's work together and help Janie see that her life is much happier when she's not in this group. The rewards of this group are an illusion. The rewards of being out of the group, they're permanent. That's the praise sandwich. Praise, big piece of meat, some more praise. Use that whenever you're talking to a troubled parent or a troubled kid. Now let's go to the screen. You know what, Sweet Tech? Here's the thing. First thing you've got to do is identify the group, make it unpleasant to be in that group, and if they're truly challenging rebel kids, they are breaking your classroom rules. Now, negative behavior by one earns each member a penalty. The rule breaker gets a white card and a note home. Others only get a white card, which is bad enough. Students only have to stay in the independent group one day. Now, this is based upon your doing earlier parts of our system. You can't solve all the problems of challenging behavior on day one. You've got to go in with a plan that'll get you through the whole year, which means there has to be increments. Let's say you're using the color card system. You know, oh, that's a warning. Oh, that's staying in at recess. Color card system might work good in September or October, but I've heard is dead wood by November and has no effect in January and February. You can't keep using the same system all year. The year is too long. This is why we say, go in with a plan, scoreboard all year for all the kids for small rewards, small penalties. Then super improvers wall all year, reward kids for individual improvement. Then practice cards, individual, reward individual penalty. Then guff counter, stop the back talk. Then if you have to, independence. And if that doesn't fix it, you say, Coach B, what if that doesn't fix it? Oh my goodness. Are you telling me you've got some challenging kids in your classroom who are not only independent of penalty, they're independent of peer pressure, lone wolves, independent of penalty and peer pressure? Oh my goodness, what are you going to do with such a kid? You can't use the practice cards on them. They don't care. Maybe they're not even buying into improvement. Independence doesn't work with those kids because they're not part of a group. Nobody wants them. What are you going to do? I'll tell you what you're going to do. You notice the glasses came off. You're going to tune in next week. Next week is when we address The most challenging of challenging kids, independent of reward or penalty, independent of peer pressure. We're going to use the bullseye game on them. Yes, we've got a big back pocket. Oh yeah, tell me if you're going to be tuning in next week. Tell me right now if you've got a kid, independent of penalty, independent of peer pressure. Here's our next screen. It's Ms. Linton again. Gosh, the independent sounds great, but how could I get a professional development credit for this broadcast and a copy of these slides? I'll tell you, Ms. Linton. Go to wholebrainteaching.com, click on the PayPal button, and send me $5.25 because $5.25 is the code of this program. And I'll get back to you with an email that has a professional development certificate and a PDF copy of all these slides. Yes, I will. Very often I get back to you lickety-split. Here's the incredible professional development certificate you can get. Put them on your wall. You're a professional and you're developing. I just thought that one up. Here's the other side of it. Now, where are we at in this journey? We're nearing the end of the year-long classroom management system. Next week is the bullseye game. And the week after that, the agreement bridge. Our system is so effective, my friends. We've almost never had to use the agreement bridge. But it's there. It's there waiting. It's a structured way to do short but ongoing counseling with your most defiant, most troubled kids. That's what a challenging kid is. He's a kid with a basket load of problems on his or her back. It's coming from the family. We can help those kids. And when we help those kids, we help all the rest of the kids in class. Let me just close with this. Listen to me. Listen to me. This is serious. I'm taking off the glasses. My heart to your heart. I hope you just understand what I'm going to say to you. Listen to me. Teacher to teacher. Listen. I made a mistake for 40 years. I made this same mistake till my last day of teaching. Last May. Same mistake. I put 80% of my energy into 10% of my kids. I had challenging kids who could care less. My friends, I taught college. I had drug addicts. I had alcoholics. I had kids who were both. I had kids who had been through nightmares at home. I'm not even going to detail them. Kids who were shattered. Back in the 70s, I had Vietnam War veterans. And I poured my energy into them. And I would stay awake at night thinking about them. Mistake. Mistake. Every one of my kids deserves the same amount of attention. I had kids in every classroom, a lot of them, that if I would have given a little attention to, they would have blossomed. So I'm setting you free. Don't make my mistake. No more heartache over one or two kids. If your heart's going to ache, let it ache for all your kids. You understand what I'm saying? You've got kids in your class right now, my friends, with a little bit of attention from their teacher, they would blossom. Level it out, even it out. Don't make my mistake. Let them go. Give them their share. But give everyone else their share too. Does that make sense to you? I'm going to put on my glasses to see if my audience thinks that makes sense. Happy teacher? Fauci, agree? Very good. You could, yes. That's right, Brainiac. Yeah. And, I mean, we are suffering souls. I mean, that's the beauty of this program. Teacher to teacher, we are suffering souls. We suffer for these kids. We worry about them. It hurts us. Hurt the right way, my friends. You know that little girl there in the second row, and she's looking up at you, and she's nervous and scared, and she's quiet, and she never makes a problem. Give her a little bit. Give her just a bit of what you've been giving that rambunctious kid in the back. Help them all. That's what you're called to do. You're not called to help the most challenging kids. You're called to a higher goal. A higher goal, my friends. You're called to help them all. Every day. That's a beautiful thing. So that when you finish your career, you can think back to this talk we had tonight, and you can say, wow, I did not make the same mistake that Coach B made for 40 stinking years. I helped them all. Yes, I helped that challenging kid, but I helped those other kids too. I watched them all grow. End of the sermon. Glasses back on. Thank you so much. Now, let's say you're interested in whole brain teaching. What are you going to do? Well, you can send me an email at cbiffle@aol.com, or let's go to the website and just look where you can kind of catch up on some of this stuff. Because tonight is based upon some earlier programs. Based upon earlier programs. So let's look where you can get information about the earlier programs. Go here to, I'm going to show you the screen. Go here to this bunch of videos here, and there's a little arrow. Click back. Here's our earlier programs, and what I would do is I would take a look at the scoreboard. Let's go back and see if we can find the scoreboard program. I believe it's the other way. Give me a few seconds here. A video on the scoreboard is 517, and a video on the practice cards is 523. So look at 517, 523. If you want to look at the guff counter, that's 524. Well, my friends, if you have any questions, let us know what they are. We love seeing you. We're going to see you next week, I know, because of that kid who's really giving you a hard time. Kate, good to see you online. And Budsley, thank you so much. Brainiac, thank you so much. So we're going to do what we always do, which is so much fun. For all our viewers, just type in, where are you from? Let us see that scroll of names. Let's see that scroll of names. Where are you from? Square Root Teach, I'm glad that we helped you out a little bit tonight. Delaware, Florida, Maine, California, New York, another Maine, Maryland, Las Vegas, Lincoln, Nebraska, Michigan, Phoenix, Baltimore, Prescott Valley, Athens 132. Tune in next week for the bullseye and then the agreement bridge. That'll help you in counseling. Mexico, Northern California. And there's professional development credit for all these videos. All you got to do is look at the video number and send me the appropriate amount. So it's video 514. Send me $5.14 on PayPal. Let's just see where the PayPal thing is. It's right here. You see this? It's right where my cursor is. So whatever the program number is, send me that amount. All right, my friends, as we do every week, God bless us all. Power to the teachers. It's Coach B signing off. See you next Tuesday night for the Bullseye Game. Yes, my friends.